was the agreement per the lease?
I think you have a copy of the lease.
I'm not reading that whole thing, so tell me what the monthly rent was.
In the beginning, I think it was $14.25.
Okay. She's lived there for over 12 years?
About 11 years.
11 years. When were you experiencing issues with her?
Andrea has had issues all through the time of getting the rent in on time, but she always made it good. I never charged her a late charge in any of the years that she was there. I'm disappointed to hear that she says that I didn't take care of things, as whenever she would call, my son-in-law is a contractor. If it was something that needed repair, I had him get out there right away. I remember she called once and said the range wasn't working. I ordered a new one, had it delivered. Whenever anything was wrong, I was quick to fix it. There's part of the reason I've rented that house since 1987. I've had 4 tenants in that many years. You don't have that if you treat tenants bad.
So she was charged a month, $14.25 initially. What did it end up being by the time she moved out?
$19.80.
So you didn't really raise the rent as much?
No,
Okay.
3 times in 11 years.
Ms. O'Brien, you said that the plaintiff was a bad landlord from the start?
No, I'm going to correct that. That's
not true?
No.
All right.
Not true at all.
So what did you mean?
He was actually a great landlord for years. What he said was how we met is true. I was in an abusive relationship and I had a single mom of 3 children, so he let me into that house. It was an older house. There were things over the years that needed fixed. When I would call him to fix some things, I got a lot of pushback, not saying that that's on him. However, it just felt uncomfortable. I felt like I had to prove to get anything done. And so when the range that he's talking about, he replaced, was because my sister had called him because I felt so uncomfortable calling him.
You felt like he was treating you like a nag, like maybe you were just always complaining about things? And
yeah, and the thing was that because he didn't raise my rent so much, I didn't want to bother him with anything. I thought it was like a win-win relationship. It's like, I don't bug him, he doesn't raise my rent, we're going to keep it at that. And then it ended up changing after that.
And at some point, things changed at work. You had less hours, and you just couldn't afford to live there anymore.
Yeah, it was just too much money for me. I just couldn't afford it, which is why I wanted to move out.
So do you acknowledge having to owe Mr. Spots here rent?
Yes.
What months?
January and December.
Do you have an offset? Because, I mean, in your answer, you were talking about a washer. You talked about not getting credit for that, as well as the plaintiff keeping a deposit.
So I did put down a deposit, and then also I replaced the dishwasher, and I left the dishwasher in there.
And how much was the dishwasher worth?
$300. Well, that's what I paid for it.
And you didn't provide any evidence of that?
It was through Facebook. However, I also left a washer and dryer in there because I just thought maybe it would add some value at all to his next tenants. And when he says that I left the place shambles, that's hurtful and not true. I did yard work in the backyard. I have pictures on my phone to prove it.
Why didn't you provide that to us? That would have been helpful, because honestly, Mr. Spots, I'm looking at the photos that you provided, and for someone who lived there 11 years, it doesn't look too bad. I mean, do you want to point to the damage beyond wear and tear that you're claiming?
Well, there's holes in the doors.
Maybe I missed that.
Okay, well, let's start on page 3. There's a hole in the garage door. That's not a window.
Oh, I do see that.
If you go to page 4.
Bags of trash there.
That was all taken out.
When was this taken then?
Before I took it out.
It was all taken out by me. I took it all out.
Are you claiming to have removed all these?
My dad and my sister, and my son and myself all removed that, 100%.
I can show you page 12.
I don't see white trash bags like I saw in the other picture.
Well, she did come and take some stuff, but there was still a lot left, and in that picture you can see the number of them still in the pile.
Okay, let's go back up to the damages. So we're on page 5 now. I see a damaged door here, the hole.
That's one of the damaged doors. The door on the right was actually moved from where it's supposed to be and put there. That's why it doesn't, the hinges, you can see there's no hinge there in the center and stuff because it's not in the right place.
Okay.
Holes in walls.
She's lived there 12 years now, 11 years.
The picture on the right side of page 6 is holes in the wall.
These are like little studs where you hang stuff. I have to zoom in, because if I zoomed out, I can't see anything.
They're bigger than little.
Look.
Those right there are over a ½ inch in diameter. You don't fill them with spackle.
Okay.
If you go on to pages 10, broken windows, and then you can see some of the garbage piled up in the back there.
Everything was removed. You know that, Dave.